Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is another tutorial video and today we're going to be making terrain. We're going to have two different styles of terrain today. We're going to have sharp cliff terrain, which is the more classic idea, or modular terrain, which is a more free-for-all type of style. A lot more realistic, I could say, but in my personal opinion, if you don't want to go through the hassle, I suggest using sharp cliff. Now let's get on with the video. Now, the first thing that we're going to want to do is go place down the Shark Cliff gallery. Now, this is going to be your most important gallery, and you're going to want to get the corner piece. You're going to want to resize it all the way. One of the also things you're going to have to do is put it on grid. You can see on the screen that I'm already starting to place, but you can see it's on grid now. If it's not on grid, that's a very bad thing. You're going to want to go on grid snap 8, and you're going to want to make a nice outline. Make sure that it doesn't look too rough edged, because then it will not look realistic and it will look kind of wonky in my opinion. But just make a pretty big outline. Depending on what you're doing, you're gonna have to have a bigger outline, a smaller outline. For this video, we're gonna have a smaller outline. Now, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I appreciate that a lot. Now, you're gonna want to go back to your gallery, and we're gonna want to get the flat grass piece with no actual physical grass on top. You're gonna want to resize it all the way. Go on grid snap 32. Now this is probably one of the harder things that we're gonna have to do in this tutorial. We're gonna have to line it up perfectly so then it's like the exact same height. Now we're just gonna want to decrease the height a bit until the point where bingo, just like that. Now you're gonna want to take that and you're gonna want to place it everywhere. Note there are very tight spots in your terrain probably, just like me. And you're gonna want to resize it, the width maybe. You're going to want to have to decrease the width a bit to fill in those tight spaces, as you're about to see on my screen right now. Now you're going to want to take this hilltop piece, I'm going to call it like that, and this is going to be our source of elevation. This piece is needed almost everywhere throughout our BRs. You can make a custom hilltop piece or take the one from this gallery. We're going to want to resize the width and the depth a bit, and we're going to want to take that corner piece again, just to put it on the side of it, so then it looks pretty realistic. There's an indent in the terrain that we can walk up upon. Now, this is where we're going to start the next level of elevation in our terrain. You could see that I'm lagging a bit in this part of the video, but that doesn't matter. We're just going to have to go and align it perfectly, and we're going to start making the other level. I'm going to see you guys once that other level is done. Now, we're going to want to do the same thing we did on the first level to the second level, which is fill it in on grid snap 32 with our floor piece. So, if you don't, I think you have to do this with every single level of terrain, even though it's a big hassle. You don't want people walking under your terrain, which is pretty bad to be honest. But yeah, very shortly we're going to start working on our mountains, so can't wait to see that happen. Now, we actually placed it right correctly this time. You have to put it on grid just like always, because if you don't put it on grid, it's tougher to make. So you're just going to want to do the same thing that you did for the second level and the first level, but you're going to want to make it excessively higher than the two levels. And this will lead to the point where we're going to have to put some other type of clip, and we're going to have to incorporate some modular also. Now, if you've made it this far in this video, I hope you please like and subscribe. I do videos like this all the time. I have a mini VR map called Wittrix that's in the making. I do tutorials, live streams, other video games, etc. So it would mean a lot if you like and subscribe. Now to this point, this is where we're gonna do the cliff part, and we're gonna fill it in with the floor again, just like again, for the third time actually. So we're just gonna do that, just like that. Oh, I messed up. Okay. Oh, okay. Now we're gonna want to take the corner piece and we're gonna go on grid snap 0. This is very important. You're gonna want to slowly rotate it on pitch or on roll, and you're gonna want to place it just like that to the tip. You don't want the grass part of that cliff showing. The only reason why we're doing this is so then it has more volume to it and it doesn't look very straight and narrow. This gives a level of extreme curvature to our mountain. It looks a lot more realistic, and you're gonna see later that we will incorporate some modular terrain, which is really cool. Now I'm gonna come back when I'm done with this. Now we're gonna get this little cliff part in one of the modular rock galleries, just the gray one with nothing on top of it. We're gonna want to resize it all the way down, and on roll axis, we're going to want to put it in on grid snap 0. This gives a nice level of texture to the build. It makes it much more realistic again. Putting it throughout your build, like just modular in general, especially the gray one, it's just literally like, it's insane. Just a little tiny bit of effort makes so much more, like, makes it look much better. Now, we are going to work on option B now. Now, option B is the modular terrain style. Now, you're going to want to go to terrain, and you're going to want to go get the modular rock gallery and the modular rock gallery B, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, and make sure it's buildable, because if you don't do buildable, they will be breakable, and you don't want people breaking your terrain. You're going to want to spawn both galleries, and we're only going to use a couple pieces. Now, something you got to know about modular terrain is that a lot of the parts, except for parts where we have to be on grid, it will be on grid snap 0, such as mountains, placing rocks, putting a bit more detail into our build. We are going to be on grid snap 0, but right now we're going to be on grid snap 8, just like we did with the shark cliff terrain, just to get our grid level just right. For shorelines, I suggest using the gray part because there really isn't any other pathway colored modular terrain. Now, we're going to do the same upper level technique we did with the shark cliff in a moment. So I'm going to see you guys then. Okay, now that we've finished our shoreline part, we're going to get the green modular, and we're going to want to start doing the same exact thing as we did before. We're just going to place a nice outline around to get our second level done. Now, with modular, it's a lot more free-handed. It's a lot more free-will, in my opinion. It's really fun to build modular with, but it's really pain in the butt to do when you're making a BR map, because sometimes, even if it's on grid, the buildings might be underground, which is one of the harder things to avoid. Now, I'm going to come back once we filled everything in, and see you. We're going to want to get this piece, and we're going to resize the width a lot. Not the depth, just a bit of the depth, but a lot of the width. This is going to be our source of clip. You're going to want to place a building to put it on grid, as you can see right now. If it's not on grid, you're pretty much screwed. So please get this part right. Now, you're going to see later on that there's going to be a lot more grid snap 0 involved, just like how it is right now. Now, you can see that I'm just trying to smooth it out a bit. Doing this really helps it feel better. Having a lot of rough edges, especially in shark terrain, is really bad. In modular, it's not really the case since you're able to cover it up clearly a lot, and people will understand that it's supposed to be like that since it's modular terrain. So now you're going to want to go into the modular mountain gallery, and you're going to want to get this sort of green and gray mountain. It's not a gray, it's a green and gray. This is going to be our mountain, and you're going to notice we don't just place it. We're going to be adding on layers and layers and layers upon this, so that it has a lot more depth and more of a real aesthetic to it. You can see that I'm placing multiple of the mountains just to make it look more realistic. Now, we're going to be doing this on two ends of this terrain. You could do it as much as you want. Now, mountains, especially in modular case, you can make them almost as big as you want. And they don't have to be on grid, since a lot of the mountains don't have a flat area that you can build on. There really isn't a chance where you're going to build on it. Now, you're going to see now that I'm going to be taking another type of terrain, and this is going to give a lot more volume to our shoreline, I'm going to call it, our rocky shoreline. Now, doing this is going to not make it as flat as it seems. People are going to have fun on it. It's going to be very elevated. It's going to be good for fighting, especially building mode. One thing about modular you gotta know is it's terrible for 0 build. Unless it's extremely fun. But if you're trying to have a full-fledged modular BR that goes elevation crazy, you have to put it build mode, because it's not going to go well if it isn't build mode. Now you can see we just put it basically everywhere. It just gives a lot more detail to the actual shoreline itself. Now you can see that I'm trying to incorporate a elevation style, but I just couldn't do that for some bizarre reason. Look at me trying again and again and again, failing every single time. Now we're going to be working on the second mountain, which will be on the left corner. I'm going to see you guys then. Okay, now that we've spawned our second mountain base, we're gonna do the exact same thing we did with the first one. We're gonna be adding layers upon layers with grid snap 0 again and again. You could tell that modular is much more easier and you can be a lot more free with it. And that's what I love about modular terrain. That shark terrain you just can't accomplish for some bizarre reason. But even though, in my opinion, I think shark is a lot more usable friendly, or user friendly, you could say, shark